So I just want to make a quick video on Cyberpunk Orion, or as they're now calling it, Cyberpunk 2. Yesterday, CDPR had an earnings report, and we learned that Phantom Liberty sold 10 million copies, as well as Cyberpunk 2, now it's going to be called, is entering pre-production officially. It's been known for a while now that CDPR has been working in the early stages of Cyberpunk 2, but I guess nothing official has been said up until yesterday. With them opening their new studio in Boston dedicated specifically to Cyberpunk 2, we kind of just had an idea that they started working on it already in some capacity. Also, yesterday in the earnings report, we heard that 96 of CD Projekt Red's 730 developers are now working on Cyberpunk 2. And apparently the majority of the staff at CDPR, which is about 422 workers, is working on The Witcher 4, which makes perfect sense because that game is going to come out way before Cyberpunk 2. The Witcher 4 is in full production while Cyberpunk 2 is in the early stages still. We also got a little information on when Cyberpunk 2 might come out. We've always thought that for sure Cyberpunk 2 wasn't coming out until 2030 at the earliest, but in the investor call, I guess somebody asked the question and the co-CEO of CDPR responded to the question. He avoided answering the question directly, but he suggested that Cyberpunk 2 won't release until 2030 or even early 2031. He said that typically when going from the pre-production stage to the final product dropping, usually takes about 5 to 6 years. So if pre-production just started May, pretty much June, then 5-6 years from now, yeah, that's 2030, 2031. And he added that depending on the scale of the game, the type of game they're making, of course, production might take a little longer than another game might even take less time than another game might take. But in the case of Cyberpunk 2, it's most likely going to take a good amount of time. This type of game doesn't just come easily. It's not something you could put out every 2, every 3, or even 4 years. So 5 to 6 years, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, that's just a little more information on Cyberpunk 2, which is now being called. Of course, I doubt it's going to stay called Cyberpunk 2. I'm assuming it's going to be Cyberpunk 2080 something like that. Could be 2078 or 2079. But for now, Cyberpunk 2, it's official. And just a little more information on everything we know so far on Cyberpunk 2. We know that Night City is going to be returning, according to Mike Pondsmith, who's the creator of the tabletop Cyberpunk. So pretty much all of Cyberpunk. We also know that there's going to be another city in the game. We don't know if it's going to be the main city. We don't know if Night City is going to be the main city, but we know Night City is going to be returning, but also we're going to have a new city, which is going to be, like he said, kind of Chicago gone wrong. We also know that they're going to move from their in-house engine into Unreal Engine 5, which I believe typically does speed up the process of development just a little bit. I'm not going to say this is going to cut like 3 years off development time, but I think it does make things a little easier for developers. So yeah, it's going to be in Unreal Engine 5. We also know that they've been hiring some people to work on environments and things of that nature to make the world they're going to make a lot more alive than, you know, any other game that they've probably made. They were also looking to hire people who had experience with multiplayer development, or someone who had experience with multiplayer development. We did know that Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to have a multiplayer component. Of course, with how the game ended up being on launch, they kind of just cut all that and decided to fix the game and eventually drop Phantom Liberty and all that. But of course, they don't want Cyberpunk 2 to be like Cyberpunk 2077 on launch, so it seems they want to follow through on their idea of bringing in a multiplayer component later on, or who knows, even maybe at launch. But yeah, apart from all that, we don't know much about the game. We don't know if it's going to be a direct sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. We don't know if V is going to return, or even any of the other characters who appear in 2077. Though I do believe if Night City is going to return, they're probably going to return to V, because V, you know, Cyberpunk is an RPG after all. Everybody can make their own character. Everybody's choices are different. Their outcomes may be different, but at the end of the day, it is like a narrative, right? It is a narrative driven story, and V isn't just some random RPG character, you know, so you can definitely have them move on into different games and things of that nature, kind of like Commander Shepard, which is who I always like to reference. Of course, if they do this, they'd have to cut a lot of people's choices. They'd have to overwrite a lot of people's major choices. They'd have to make an ending canon. They'd have to make certain things in the game that happen throughout the game canon. And honestly, I'm all for it. I know a lot of people don't like their choices being overwritten because it kind of just negates the whole thing. Like, I did all these things, I made all these choices just for it to not matter. But if it's for the sake of the next game, then I think it's probably for the best. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. We are most likely 5 to 6 years away from this game. I've always been saying, kind of as a joke, but not really, that this game isn't coming out until 2030 at the earliest. But you know, it is what it is. When this game comes out, I believe it has the potential to be a lot better, even better than Cyberpunk 2077, and that's a tall order. That's a lot to live up to. As always, just let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like the video if you like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.